So hello ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a very warm welcome to Half the Race Con. We are live and direct from the final round of the TSR Super Formula, the inaugural season, the final round as mentioned here from Suzuka. Qualifying is very much underway. We've got GT Welsh completing his first lap, TSR Jimmy just and about. And as I'm getting settled in here with a cup of coffee, it is the final round of a series. Quite a short one indeed, just 6 rounds we've had, but what a piece of action-filled racing marvel it's been following this Super Formula series. It's been a great watch all the way through. So provisional pole position for GT Welsh. Still some laps to go, mind you. Qualifying format for this series is an outlap and 5 flyers. Evening to Shosset, an early in tuner. It's a pleasure having you along, mate, and I hope you'll be enjoying the show. Welsh is at the moment 8 thousandths of a second in front of Martin, and we've got Wake, CU, Kurt 24, Jimmy, then it's Pinkery in 6th position at the moment from the Volex esports team. Just as I say that, he's actually pushed down into 7th, and that is because Joe of the Fire on those soft tires just put in a new provisional pole time. Of course, evening to Maverick. Of course, tire rules are as follows. The drivers have 2 compounds available for them for each race, and it switches around as to which compound it actually is. Joe of the Fire with a further improvement here through the 2nd sector as he heads through the hairpin and then up through 200R now. But anyway, Joe of the Fire on the soft tires, and that means that Joe of the Fire will be starting the race on the softs. And mind you, that will be his only available set of the soft compound tires. The 2 compounds that are available to the drivers today are the softs and the mediums, and a single set of softs for the race as mentioned, and tire wear times 3. Evening to Pennywise as well. Nice to have you along. And a good piece of racing yesterday, it has to be said, especially the 2nd heat we had at the monthly Audi Teddy Cup Series. It was amazing indeed. Here, Joe of the Fire pushes his advantage. He's down into the 36s with a 1:36.6. Many evening to Rabbit Gator as well. So Joe of the Fire, of course, our crowned champion already, and a huge congratulations from us here. We at Half the Race Gone are hugely overjoyed with the sponsorship we've put in. The car of Joe of the Fire, it has paid dividends big time. No, but a big congratulations to Joe of the Fire, who has been very, very consistent. And on few occasions, well, as he found himself not having the speed to be well on the top spot of the podium, and on these occasions, those who've had pace to match him well, they've crashed at some point. So just gonna have a look down through the order here. There's a bit of an improvement coming in from TSR Martin. Let's see how close he can get. He makes his way through the final chicane, the Casio Triangle. And across the line for a 37.2, so that is a 2/10 improvement. Still sitting there second. CJ, he's qualifying on the softs as well. He's managed no better than 7th best at the moment. Still a couple of left for CJ. Is Shoma racing tonight? I am afraid Shoma is not racing tonight. I think a lot of the other drivers will be, I don't know, I think they mostly enjoy racing with him, and especially when he knows Shoma on track for tonight. Shoma, who has been substituting or reserving, but only as a part-time entrance for the series. We've got off Apple in the number 9 Nuke Shot Motorsports car. We've got GRM Bandit and the other one of the two, the number 35 Nuke Shot Motorsports car. He's picked up some damage here on the qualifying session. And then it's T5 Black looking to improve, and he has improved a little bit. He is on the mediums. Now we see CJ's gone 3rd fastest, so CJ has put in some kind of improvement to his grid placing, but he's a 2nd down on Joe of the Fire. Anything Martin as well? Certainly is handy on this track. And of course Shoma, that is. But Shoma, I think we'll find him handy on most tracks. Well, look at that, real close between CJ and Welsh. Just 200ths of a second between those two. Will Friedman, he's gone 5th fastest so far. And let's see here, Joe of the Fire, he's on his final lap by now. Still 6/10 clear on TSR Martin time-wise. But he's down on his personal best through the first sector. Catching up to one of the Nuke Shot Motorsports cars. I think that is off Apple in front. Oh, and Martin's put it into the wall, I think, and that is his qualifying session over. So 2nd on the grid it will be for Martin. CJ is now on a purple 1st sector, if I'm not completely mistaken. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. And he is no longer that CJ because he's just pinned it on the exit from the 2nd Deckner. And that's gonna make it 3rd for CJ, 4th for Welsh, 5th for Will Friedman. Kurt 24 coming home for his final lap time here. What's it gonna be for Kurt 24? It's not gonna be an improvement. He's gonna be 6th on the grid. T5 Black in 7th position on the mediums. Wake CU there in 5th position on the mediums as well, so that's not bad at all. And then as mentioned, T5 as well on the medium compound. Same goes for Pinkery. We have Apple on the mediums as well. Jimmy, he's on the mediums in 10th position. Dr. Hash, who I think hasn't really managed to befriend the Super Formula car this season at least. He starts 11th in front of GRM Bandit. And CJ, of course, 3rd, so that pushes. Race at 18 lobby time. What? Oh. So now a short break post qualifying. We will be back in 5 minutes, exactly 5 minutes for the race start. And evening, Welsh. I hope you're doing. I hope you're doing Welsh. No, sorry. I'm sorry that it'll be a yellow card for myself for very bad humor. Yes, indeed, Apple. I realized that I just went through the results with CJ. Not there. He wasn't there. Evening, Jimmy. Send this man off. Yeah, straight red card. That might be. That's a foul with no sort of consideration for the health of the opposing part, with stretched legs and the nuts in front and the foot up and everything. Might even be a little bit from behind. So an interesting race indeed we are going to have in the battle for second position, as Martin writes. He will need third. He will need to finish ahead and wins the race. There's someone going around there. That's of course the safety car with engine damage. It's not how it's supposed to go for the safety car. I'm quite sure. So just under 2 minutes till we will get the race start procedure underway, and I'll just talk you through that one as well. And we'll be having a double warm-up lap in order for the cars to be able to enter the pits after the first of them. And we will let them go off the grid very low on fuel, mind you, and then they enter the pits to fill up to the desired level they want to start the race upon. And from there on, there's a second formation lap to form up on the grid, and then there is either the race marshal or I will give the start signal in form of a time in the lobby timer at the left bottom part of your screen. No cake for Wake today. Cake, see you. I've left you cake. Can't have you today in pits. So as mentioned, we should be getting very close to start. Well, just about now, basically. And the drivers should also be in their seats. Oh, Martin. The aim and the ghosting. So we should be getting underway by now. I think we do have everyone on track except for the safety car. And a single minute. A single minute. So it's any moment by now. I think everyone's called out for being ready, or called out for being ready. I think everyone should be ready by now. We should be getting the race session underway. Of course, best of luck to the drivers. Enjoy the race, have fun. That is what it is in the end all about. And there it is. The signal has been given. How dare you want to start? Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see about the turn 1 carnage. As I remember from last race, it didn't go that bad until the S's. And there we had the carnage. So the safety car is to get to the front of the pack. And there it is, making its way through the middle. Quite an obscure way for us to get the safety car to the front. The parade lap is underway. So championship winner, our championship for the first season of Super Formula here with the TSR. Also the Iranian GT 300 champion, it is Joe of the Fire. And then it actually follows with the championship standings with Martin second on the grid, and then CJ third. And then we've got Welch fifth on the grid. Well, that's of course fourth without the safety car. Will Friedman is fifth. Wake is sixth. Kurt 24 in seventh. T5 Black. Hope that he gets a better start than last week. He starts from 8th position. We've got Pingree in 9th. Off Apple in 10th. We've got TSR Jimmy 11th. Dr. Hash in 12th. And GRM Bandit in 13th position on the grid. And the safety car is, of course, being driven by none other than TSR Stick, our race marshal and race director, at the same time as taking care of safety car duties. It's worth noting that the first of the medium qualifiers, I think it is Wake CU, as they pit in, is certainly Wake be starting sixth, who was first to start on the mediums. So interesting piece of strategy there. We've also got quite a number of the cars running lower down the grid, starting on the mediums. You see Pinkery, Apple, Jimmy also. And we saw that last week. It worked really well for a number of cars. With the aggressive wear settings, tire wear on 3 here. So we won't expect a huge amount of life from the soft compounds. And now, of course, the field reforming behind TSR Stick. Evening to John for games. And no doubt, Rabbit Gator, I think you are very much right on that one. The undercut could really work wonders here. Pit stop, timing, strategy, all that. Really, really important. It is in turn quite difficult to overtake in these high downforce cars around Suzuka. There are a couple of good opportunities, but it is difficult. The track is relatively narrow. The dirty area is strong with these cars, so it can be really difficult just to get close enough and get that proper run. Though we will see how it goes. Best of chances for the drivers will be here on the opening lap, more or less, or the opening 2 laps, as it's still really close. And once the race settles in, it's going to be all the more difficult here. The safety car peels off. And it's now the racers up to left to themselves, more or less. I have to park on their respective grid places here. We're watching the car of Joe of the Fire take its place by the red line. There it is. Evening to Cliche as well. You've jumped at the perfect time indeed. And I'll be here to tell the drivers when to start. 6:20 will be the go signal for the drivers, and that's gonna be a problem for whoever it is. I think it's Wakesy who's got a problem. Oh, it's okay. He is. He made it. He's in position, as we've got 10 seconds. And those 10 seconds passing quickly make that 5 seconds. We've got Joe of the Fire to your right, TSR Martin to your left, and there it is. Go, go, go. Final round of the TSR Super Formula. First season is underway, and look at the start from CJ. CJ now leading into turn 1. First to third, third to first, boom. Fantastic start by the Mad Greek. Puts Martin under pressure right away in that championship battle for second position. Welsh is in 4th, Kurt 24 in 5th, Pinkery 6th, Will Friedman in 7th, Jimmy 8th. What has happened to Wakesy? He's far down the order, he's in 9th position. He's had a terrible start. We've got T5 in 10th position, Off Apple is 11th, and then at the bottom of affairs, it is Dr. Hash and GRM Bandit running 12th and 13th at the moment. But CJ, the Mad Greek, getting amazingly off the line. Really, really, really good start indeed. And let's have another look at CJ's start. So 5 seconds at this point. And there it is. Oh, he gets a really good start. He gets such a good run. Quickly disposes of both. Well, Martin Feibersen, he's a done deal by now. And he takes Joe of the Fire as well through turn 1. And then the entrance to turn 2, he is in the lead. And leading, he still does. He's now trying to pull away from Joe of the Fire. And Welsh has gotten past Martin. Welsh is up into 3rd position, so at the moment, it is not looking good for Martin, who's now getting passed by Kurt 24. Has he picked up damage? No, he hasn't. But Martin really suffering with his pace here early on, dropping down into 5th position now, side by side, getting shut off there by Kurt 24. And brilliant stuff by Kurt to take 4th, but indeed Martin needs to finish 3rd or higher if CJ wins the race. Behind all this, we've got Pinkery in 6th position for the Volex esports team. He is the top runner on the medium compound at the moment. And so it is looking pretty good for him. He's closely joined there Right behind them is Will Friedman in the number 8 car. And then Jimmy and T5 is further on right behind in positions 8 and 9. Let's have a look with the leaders. CJ, he's still leading right in front of the Witty Professor. It is time for the Wayne Cam exiting Spoon Curve. I was about to say Dunlop. That would of course be incorrect here. Joe of the Fire gets himself right onto the tailgate, the bumper of CJ's machine. No way through here. Oh, Joe of the Fire nearly overcooks it, as he actually does, and goes all the way off through the Casio triangle. And that is gonna be a gift for Martin. Joe of the Fire rejoins, but he's falling down the order, and he's gonna be having dirty tires. They're gonna be going 3 wide into turn 1. It's Pinkery on the outside. Is Will Friedman. Oh, that's well done by Pinkery and Will Friedman to stay out of the way of each other in that situation. Could have gotten together in a real bad way indeed. Now let's see yet again here as Joe of the Fire gets to slide on and then goes wide on exit. Fairly undramatic. He's down in seventh position now, the Witty Professor. And really makes his first great mistake of this season as soon as the championship is secured. So CJ now with a 1.7 second lead, down to GT Welsh in second, Kurt 24 in third position at the moment, then TSR Martin fourth, Pinkery fifth, it is Will Friedman sixth, and then Joe of the Fire seventh, Wake in 8th position at the moment, and further down the order in 9th, it's Off Apple 10th, Dr. Hash, it's GRM Bandit 11th, then it's Jimmy in 12th, and T5 in 13th position at the moment. So good stuff from Kurt 24, now under some real pressure from Martin here on the way down to turn 1. Let's see, we're on board with the Flying Dutchman that is. Nope, Martin is on the softs. Martin was, oh, and Martin goes straight up into the rear end of Jimmy there. Takes out himself, takes out Jimmy as well. I'm afraid that has to be damage to both of those cars. Another look. Simply comes in hot through turn 1 and is unable to stop. And I'm not too sure that Kurt is gonna be appreciative of that. Poor luck for Martin, and that is gonna be a gift for CJ now, with CJ leading the race and Martin 11th. That second overall might be crumbling for Martin here. So poor luck indeed. Best of the medium runners at the moment, cliche would be Will Friedman, I think. In 4th, no, Will Friedman actually running on the softs, and that means it is, of course, Pinkery in 5th position at the moment, who is the best medium runner. Evening Stick, and as always, a pleasure to have you along for the ride. As we are following Volex driver Pinkery here in what I think is one of the best liveries in a series that is full of absolutely great liveries. Martin's made some fantastic ones for himself and for Jimmy as well. His rendition of the car guy livery certainly looks great indeed. But this, the Volex car, I really think it looks the part. So a pretty good position for Pinkery here as we're on lap 5, effectively of 44. CJ now leading Welsh by 2.2 seconds. Joe of the Fire back up into 3rd position by now. And Joe of the Fire now also passed Will Friedman. And that means it's been a pretty good start for the Frenchman as well. He's had a couple of very unlucky races. Was he one of the drivers who think he was part of that incident at the start with the T5 last week? So great to see Will Friedman getting a good run here. Known to have pace about him, but you need luck as well. So in 6th position, Wake. In 7th of Apple. He's done well for himself so far. He's keeping a good gap down to Dr. Hash in 8th. It's Bandit running 9th at the moment, and I'd like to see what actually happened to Jimmy and T5 as well. They're now around. Martin there at the backside of affairs. Kurt 24 pitting in. I mean, is that gonna be? Yeah, that is the damage fixed from the contact with Martin earlier on, and a quick damage fix, and then rejoins, only to take himself out completely. And what was that all about? What was that all about? Kurt 24, as he rejoins the track. I'm a little lost for words there, because look at this one. And let's have it from the perspective of Jimmy in behind, who has absolutely nowhere to go. And there'll be some explaining to do in the TSR camp, I think, after this race. Now Welsh is catching up to CJ. He's caught up by around half a second since last time we had a look. And Joe of the Fire still in with a shout. Will Friedman in 4th. He's around 9 seconds down on a race leader at the moment. Further 6 seconds down to Pinkery, Wake off Apple, and Dr. Hash further down, and it's a little bit more spread from the next couple of positions, although I think it is still quite close between the front two medium runners. Well, you could say that, I guess. Pinkery and Wake. See you. Opting for a different kind of strategy. So CJ now bringing his advantage back out. And what's happening here? He's well, he was typing, so that's what lost him a bit of time there. Welsh just gets on with the job. And Joe of the Fire, he's down by 4.5 seconds. It looks to be gaining though at the moment, so 36 laps of racing left to do here from Suzuka. It's still pretty close between the top 3 runners. Joe of the Fire has done pretty well to pick himself up from his mistake, and of course also avoid running into anything, picking up that damage that could really have cost him big time. CJ knows he just has to keep it cool now, basically, more or less. With Martin pretty much out of the picture, it looks really good for CJ with regards to taking 2nd place in the overall standings. And Welsh, well, Welsh, he just has to press on And it, of course, wouldn't be beyond him to pick up his first win of the season. Here he is, GT Welsh in the Red Bull Honda. So the race now moving into its second phase, with the hectic opening more or less over, with the racing order having settled at the moment. And this is where it becomes more about that strategical run and getting the most out of the tires, pitting at the right time, especially here on Suzuka. As aforementioned, it is so difficult to overtake. And it sometimes seems to impede pure racing a little bit with these high downforce machines, though, that being said, it's far from a universal truth, although there is some kind of truth to it here. Welsh is really dropping back at the moment. He's losing time quickly. His front tire seems to be suffering here, as Joe of the Fire is now within a second. And not too long ago, it was over 2 seconds down on GT Welsh. And F's out indeed, Jimmy. That situation there before between yourself and Kurt certainly looked odd, looked strange, and looked, well, even with the entire situation, yeah. Here on board now with Joe of the Fire, working hard to catch Welsh in front. Now into the Casio triangle, onto the start-finish straight. Through the sweeper and across the line. Now Jimmy, from my view, it looked like he unghosted pretty much, yeah, a fraction of a second before you arrived, and then both of your fates were pretty much sealed from there on. Back up with the wang cam here from Welsh now, up through the S's, through Dunlop as well, down towards the Deckners. And what used to be one corner, for safety reasons, made it two, and considerably sharper and much less fast. The old Deckner was really high speed. CJ seems to be running off with it, as we see Joe catching up to Welsh. Just as I say that, Joe really just misses the apex on his way through Spoon. Interesting to see that Will Friedman, running on the softs, is not really able to clearly dispose of Pinkery and Wake in behind. And as you see, the gap just around 2 seconds between Will Friedman and the two cars behind him. They are both on the medium compound. So looking good for both Pinkery and Wake. If they can keep this kind of consistency up throughout their stint on the mediums, they will be looking at good track position come the end of the race, I am quite sure. Now Joe of the Fire, having gotten past GT Welsh, the move into turn 1, I'm quite sure it was. Let's see. Impossible to get a shot of it, I'm afraid. Oh, and Welsh is suffering. It's a poor exit from Deckner 2. Really seems to be suffering with the front tires. Joe of the Fire on a pace that Welsh can by no means follow at the moment. He's really dropping back. He's now 7 seconds down on CJ. Joe of the Fire's really lost out as well. 4.8 seconds So it's really playing out into the hands of the Mad Greek at the moment. And of course, a very warm welcome to everyone who's joined us post-race start. We are enjoying the good show that is the TSR Super Formula. It's the final round of the season. We're following Joe of the Fire at the moment, back up into second position after going off earlier in the race. And at the moment he's chasing CJ here. He has a lead of around 4.5 seconds. And there's an interesting development for this race because TSR Martin, who was in a good position to take second overall, well, he isn't in a good position to take second overall anymore after having a bad race start indeed. First losing out on several positions and then making contact with Kurt 24 and is now finding himself in 10th position, T5 in 11th, last of the running cars. So this race has taken its toll on a number of the cars already out of the running, I should say. The gap, however, is coming down now between CJ and Joe of the Fire. It was 4.5 seconds, and as I say that, CJ gets the superior run out of Spoon and brings it right back up to make me look like a fool. Welsh also seems to have found his rhythm again, found his consistency. He's now keeping the time at least and not losing it, not bleeding it as he was just a lap or so ago. He really lost a lot of time in the space of very, very short time indeed. Third to last in a flash indeed, Kurt. That went quickly. That went quickly, as fast as only motorsports can bring you from fast to zero. Welsh is doing a pretty good job at the moment. It's 3.5 seconds up to Joe of the Fire. Joe of the Fire still also status quo with the gap to CJ. In fourth, it is Will Friedman. Last lap for him was a 38.9, so he's some way off the pace by now. It looks like he's also slowly but surely getting caught now by Pinkery and seems to be falling into the clutches of Pinkery and Wake. It's all in fun indeed, of course. As Will Friedman, just speaking about him losing a little bit of pace, he loses the car as well through Spurn, I was about to say Spoon, and finds himself in 6th position now. Let's have a look at what happened. We join him on exit from 200R. Oh, simply just goes a little wide, and then that's that black hole. Sebastian Vettel's black hole on that right side. Sucks off Will Friedman, pulls him down into 6th position, and in turn opens the door for both Pinkery and Wake to go through. And it'll be interesting to see if Will Friedman can still find some pace advantage on his softs, given that the two drivers in front of him are on the mediums. Another driver on the mediums is Dr. Hash. He is pitting in for the first time from around 8th, 9th position. And Hash rejoins P10. So the situation is as follows: CJ leading Joe of the Fire, Welsh, then Pinkery, Will Friedman has now gotten past on Wake CU. Oh, Wake! Oh, Wake! Oh, Wake! What have you done? Battling Will Friedman for position. And then loses it in best Armored Core fashion on the exit from the hairpin. And that's gonna be damage for Wake CU, of course, and poor luck for him. He's gonna be falling down the order. Shoma, welcome and good evening to you. You're back home at Suzuka? Well, that's nice to hear. So Wake, I have to say I'm quite surprised to find Wake without damage. That's incredible. That is incredible. That's well done from Wake CU not to pick up any damage. I was certain that he picked up a little After all, we are indeed grown men. A lot of you grown men driving virtual cars. Me, perhaps, not perhaps, quite possibly a lot more sad. Me commentating grown men driving around and racing in virtual cars. Bandit pitting as well here. He's gonna be dropping to 11th position. Oh, Shoma, you're a child. You're what, 24 or something, aren't you? But I guess we're all men children. There's a big man child in every one of us, no doubt about that. Bandit rejoins in 11th position. Oh, what's happened to CJ? He's lost out some time as well to Joe of the Fire. But I don't think anything particular has happened. But he's lost out on a second of his advantage. And as we say that, it is Welch pitting in from 3rd position. I thought it was T5's fault. Kurt. So here is Welsh in for his first stop. He rejoins with enough fuel, I'd say, to complete the race on a fresh set of mediums. What kind of pace can he get out of those? Everything is T5's fault. Exactly. Good, someone agrees with me there. Dr. Hash now finds himself in 7th position. That's pretty good. Although he is 55 seconds down on Welsh in 6th. But he's right in front of Martin here. Martin, who's had a race to forget so far. Really. And hello, Hundy. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. We're following Dr. Hash on his way through the S's. Those 55 seconds became 28 as we had Welch pitting in. Oh, and Hash loses it on the outside of Dunlop. Just gets a tad too wide. There it is. Gets squirmy, and there's no saving that, although he keeps it away from the wall. So no damage. And as we speak about that, Joe of the Fire attempts to undercut CJ. It says that he is, So there is Joe rejoining in front of Pinkery and Wake. Will Friedman in pits as well. And let's see where he will rejoin. It'll probably be behind Welch. I wouldn't be surprised to find him right in that spot. He's 11 seconds down on Welch. CJ has yet to pit. He's done well to keep his softs alive, it seems. Now the question is, will he be able to keep pace on Joe of the Fire? It seems Joe of the Fire is already gaining. He might just be using that undercut effectively here. And Pinkery is still very much in with a shout, because Pinkery just about 5 seconds down on Joe of the Fire at this point of the race. Of course, he's yet to do his first pit stop, as well as Wake CU, who really lost it there on the exit from the hairpin a couple of laps ago, but was lucky not to pick up any damage. Here we have CJ pitting in. CJ pitting in from the lead. He has a 24-second gap down to Joe of the Fire. That means he had about 2 seconds when Joe pitted in. It should be possible for him to keep it, but it very much depends on fuel levels. We'll see. Here comes Joe. CJ clearly ahead as CJ rejoins. So that's CJ actually managing to pick up an extra 2 seconds on that pit round on Joe of the Fire. And then, as mentioned, it is Pinkery running very strongly in third at the moment. He seems to be doing what other drivers did with great effect at the last race. It's been tried throughout the season. It hasn't really worked wonders for anyone so far. But has to be said that Pinkery here, 10 seconds down. Of course, also a pit stop less for him so far, but with his softs still to use later on. So of course, it all just will come down to what kind of use he can get and what kind of pace he can get from the softs late race. But it really can be a huge advantage indeed. Stays out this time around, Pinkery. Wake stays on track as well. He's getting hunted down by GT Welsh at the moment. A little bit of tire smoke through the braking zone there, hard braking zone through turns 1 and 2, then up through the S's. Spot on there and through Dunlop. If you get it right, it's flat out, and you can hear that's flat all the way through, then down to Deckner 1, and on the entrance to Deckner 2 down into third gear here. Up through the gears yet again. Evening, Stevie. What a pleasure to have you along. And it is indeed Maverick. It is Pinkery in third. Hairpin done with, then it's 200R. And then braking hard for the entrance to Spoon, the double left-hander. Taken as one long corner, gets a little bit of a slide on. Then on the back straight over the bridge down here. Down to one hard braking zone. Coming into the Casio triangle. Aggressive on the curbs here, and then aiming for a stable exit. Bit of a slide yet again from Welch, and that completes a lap of Suzuka. So Stick, if that's the case, then the soft runners, well, those running their softs at the end of the race might in turn be in for an even bigger advantage if the wear isn't that much greater on the mediums. We have Apple pitting in, comes from, been running with the softs, that means he'll be going to the mediums. And it's pretty much here at around halfway distance. Hey, hurt. Hurt 24. Sticky, that's a good typo. I don't think it was I think it was an incident, but hurt. Hope you're not hurt. Apple rejoins in 10th. We got Bandit in the pits as well. Stevie, I'm good. I'm a little tired tonight. As my voice might actually also reveal, and I've been doing a lot of talking over the last couple of days with quite a number of broadcasts here and some other stuff as well. But I'm quite good in general. The Smooth Boy is well, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen him actually for a number of days, but I think he's pretty good. He's been busy with Assetto Corsa, and also getting back, I think, into Counter-Strike, CSGO with some of his old mates and stuff. So I'm sure he's enjoying himself. CJ now leading by 2 seconds, so Joe of the Fire certainly is closing that gap on the mediums now. And then a 13.7 second gap down to Pinkery, who then in turn has a little bit of an extra advantage down to Wake CU. Then it's Welsh, Will Friedman, Martin and T5 Black, and that is the top 8 at the moment. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do here on Half the Race Gone, do hit us with the like button on the video, and if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe as well to stay in tune and in touch with what it is that we are doing here on the channel. In Dirten news, in other news from Dirtenland, you could say the pedals has arrived, so I will be back racing myself soon, and I'm aiming for picking up where I left some time ago by now, by getting back into Dirten Rally this Thursday, which I am very much looking forward to. TSR with a special event on the 28th. That's certainly also in my book. And then a little bit of what's been on the boards from, well, combined the TSR lads and us here at Half the Race Gone. But we're gonna be looking into Project Cars 2 and to organize some league races that will be broadcast here on the channel in Project Cars 2. So if you feel like taking part in those set races in Project Cars 2, find us on Discord. There's a link in the description where you can join our Discord channel and you can stay updated on those things. Make sure you are you're there, you don't miss a thing. Didn't I say Project Cars 2? PC2? What did I say? Did I say something else? But anyways, I meant... I'm glad, Kurt. But it's exactly what I meant. Project Cars 2. CJ, it's coming down. It's coming down. I was about to say it's coming home, but he's already taken the grand prize, the trophy, by securing it with a win at the 5th round. Oh, about Dirten Rally. Oh yeah. Well, that's the pedals that Dr. Hash sent me, so I can get a set of pedals up and running again. A working set of pedals for my rig, my G29 Wheel of Champions rig. And I just thought a good way to celebrate having a rig working again would be to, in the banterous fashion that is Dirt and Rally Thursday night, and I'm off on Friday. It's a holiday on Friday here in Denmark, so we can get down and super dirty indeed. Joe of the Fire, he's continually pulling in CJ here, slowly but surely. It seems the advantage is now down to 1.2 seconds. Joe of the Fire looking to get within the slipstream range to at least make up for some of the dirty air that he'll be already experiencing here at this point through the corners. A difficult situation to be in. Behind, in third, still Pinkery, but 20 seconds down at the moment. And he'll then have to pit as well. Welch has gotten past on Wake CU. He's up into 4th position. And that means, of course, Wake running 5th. It's Will Friedman in 6th, Martin 7th, and T5 in 8th position at the moment. Still have to say that Pinkery and, well, not as much Wake anymore, and especially not when spinning it like this. Wake CU puts it into the gravel in the second Deckner. Time for a short replay just to see if we can catch what went wrong here. Flying in through the first Deckner, just putting it wide onto the AstroTurf and not able to bring it back and slow the car all at the same time. And he loses out on some vital time there, Wake CU. It could have been great for him, I think, but Pinkery, the only one of the medium starters to really be able to put together a truly consistent run here throughout his first stint. And he does find himself 25 seconds down, more or less, on the race leader. In turn, he also has time to gain with that set of softs that he still has to use later on. CJ has picked the pace right back up, it seems, because Joe of the Fire is now down by 2.5 seconds. Could of course be that Joe made a mistake of some sort. Here is Wake Cake. Wake the Cake. Yeah, he's Wake the Cake and he's spitting in. Is it cake time? Or just maybe a bit of sweets, a wine gum or two for the Belgian. Trust me, Kurt, I've been going through it. Actually, I got Stella, the half the race sniffer dog, to go through the contents to make sure there was no illegal contents from our German friend. Currently sitting here in 8th. Now 9th position, close to the rear end of T5 Black. He's flown very much under the radar today so far, Dr. Hash. But all kudos to a man that is a good man at heart indeed. And especially Stick indeed. Volex Esports livery is absolutely ace. Look at it. It's so pretty. It's so well made. Maverick, maybe you can tell me who made these liveries for your team, because it looks absolutely stunning. I have to say, the black one, I was a big fan of the black, blue, darker livery you ran earlier in the season. This white one is damn fine as well. Here, Pinkery into the pits from 3rd position, getting a set of soft tires onto the car. There's just about 20 laps of racing left to do for the field here around Suzuka. Half a tank of fuel and he rejoins in 5th position. So it's quite some catching up to do by now. The question is, will CJ need another pit stop for tonight? I'm quite sure he will. There's no chance that CJ can bring the car home 20 laps on that amount of fuel. What about Joe of the Fire? seems to be the same for me. It seems that they could very well both be on a two-stop strategy. It could also be that they can make that fuel last the remaining 19 laps or so of the race. We'll really just have to see on that one. But if they have to pit again, well, oh, Joe of the Fire going way wide in turn 1. Oh, and he does well to catch it on the still very slippy tarmac there on the outside of the track. It's so easy to get it all the more wrong and have contact. But it's certainly not what he needed. Joe of the Fire now finds himself 6.1 seconds down on CJ. No doubt that he has the pace here, Joe of the Fire, but it's kind of a reverse world we're looking at the moment, where CJ finds himself the consistent one, Joe of the Fire with the pace, but also finds himself the one making mistakes. That's not good. GT Welch, third at the moment. He's been looking strong for today. He was keeping up well with the leaders early on, but sadly just couldn't keep that pace up. Will Friedman in fourth. It is Pinkery in the lovely Rolex car in fifth position. It is Wake CU in the Sugar Rush, Ben and Jerry's Honda in sixth, Martin in seventh. So still really looks to be CJ walking away with the second place in the overall standings. In eighth, it is the lovely Dr. Hash. T5 is in ninth position in front of the two Nukeset cars of Apple and GRM Bandit. And I also have to say that the couple of races has been tough on T5. Here on board with race leader, a certain Greek that's not too sane, but he's doing very well for himself here today. Around 5 seconds between the two leaders as Joe of the Fire around 130R heads towards the triangle where he had the first of his offs here today. He's had a couple of offs today, Joe of the Fire, really unlike him. In the end, he goes across the line, yet again gaining on CJ. But I am I'm afraid it's not going to be enough. CJ looks so consistent today. It looks like he is going to be very difficult to catch, let alone pass. If the catch is made, passing is quite another thing, as Murray Walker so famously once put it. Welsh is pitting in now, and that's a second stop for GT Welsh. I have to wonder what that is all about, because seems to be okay on tires, seems to be quite okay on fuel as well. He is changing the tires here. He is adding a little extra fuel. 15 laps of racing left. Welsh rejoining in, is it going to be fourth position? It is. Not too far up on Pinkery. And Wake also putting himself back up closer, at least, to Pinkery. He was 7-8 seconds down after one of his mistakes earlier on. Hasn't quite found his usual level of consistency, Wake CU. but still in a pretty okay position. He is, of course, on the racing softs by now. Same goes for Pinkery here for the last stint of the race. With that Welsh pit stop, Will Friedman now up into third position with a gap of 4 seconds to the Welshman behind. Should he have to make a second pit stop, Pinkery will be right up there, I'm sure. And Welsh pitting in again, that's quite interesting in the end, I have to say. Must be because he didn't feel like he could keep up the pace on his current tires, but and then of course also with the big gap up in front to CJ and Joe, then it might just be that he'd opt for fresh tires to be able to battle to the end with Will Friedman, the Frenchman, perhaps having had the advantage before. Certainly at the moment now it should be advantage Welsh on that fresh rubber, as he indeed gains through turns 1 and 2. Should see him gain up through the S's as well. That's exactly what we do here. TSR Martin, he most certainly has had a race to forget today. He was hoping to be able to secure second in the overall standings. He needs to finish third or better if CJ wins. At the moment it is not looking like it at all. Here Joe of the Fire in for a second pit stop for him. It's gonna be a fresh set of mediums, not much fuel left, and that just makes me think that it might be the same thing that's gonna be happening for CJ, a second pit stop. And that might, in turn, just put Pinkery back into contention. Not to mention, of course, Will Friedman. Oh, Martin's had no sleep. That is actually the worst possible condition that I could, except for having my arms chopped off or something like that. Something completely out of, usual, but either being really sick with like a heavy fever or something, or then being completely sleep deprived isn't really the best. And that's a mild understatement to say that it is really the best sort of preparation for sitting and doing something that requires a high amount of concentration from the driver. Now CJ leading by 27 seconds. Of course, CJ have yet to make his second pit stop. Oh yeah, he's taxi driving for the elderly. Martin, the man with a good heart as well. Oh, here it is, the pit stop for CJ. And this time around he actually had less fuel than Joe of the Fire. It will be interesting to see how it stands when they bunch up back together, when CJ rejoins the track here. Fueling goes on, but Joe just leaving the Casio triangle now. I don't think he's really gonna be anywhere too close to CJ, who's left the pit already and is heading into turn 1 by now. So CJ cleanly ahead, and he's kept an advantage of around 3 seconds now. Welch getting the better of Will Friedman. And was that through 130R? It must have been an impressive overtaking maneuver. Overtaking maneuver. But that is Welsh on the inside of 130R, so not bad at all. Pinkery gaining on the softs. He finds himself 34 seconds down. More importantly, he finds himself only 5 seconds down on GT Welch and a podium spot. With Maverick showing interest in Martin's red light district runs, it also is rather interesting, I have to say. So out there in the living rooms, in the kitchens, wherever you are, on the buses, staring into your smart devices, PC screens. I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday evenings, and I'm glad, it warms my heart that you are willing to be spending them with us here at Half the Race Gone, watching the TSR Super Formula Series here as well. As gets a little bit of a slidey moment on the exit of Spoon. Rapid Gator. On the toilet. I'll take you a dump. Oh. You certainly got the knack. Jimmy. I really had no idea I was wandering off onto uncharted territory with that bit of commentary there, but tell me where you are, people. Tell me in chat, where are you? It's gonna be a returning feature. Returning feature of fun. Pinker is still in 5th position. I'd like to go on board with the Volage driver because he's quickly catching up to Will Friedman at the moment. However, even more interestingly, he's also getting caught quite quickly in turn by the flying Belgian that is Wake CU right about now, who's just made it up to around the 2nd mark here on Pinkery. Dr. Hash, I think we had pitting in and now rejoining as well. So just how this one is gonna end up. Well, that's gonna be an interesting one. Will Friedman pulls off to disallow Pinkery the slipstream, and it is about to be a 3-way for 4th position at the moment, as sexy as that sounds indeed. And it might be really kinky given that Welsh is only 3.5 seconds up the road. Comments are gold today, chat. You are delivering on a high level, I have to say. Oh, look at this, the three-way is real. As we're on board with the Sugar Rush Performance Honda of Wake CU. We've got the panorama view of Pinkery and Will Friedman right in front. Mind you, the Frenchman Will Friedman is on the medium compounds here for the late race, with Pinkery and Wake CU both on the soft compound. They of course also have their overtaking boost, kind of a push to pass system that they're using here. Oh, is that Pinkery? Is he gonna send it up the inside into the triangle? It certainly does. Oh, keep it in, keep it in. He does keep it in. Brilliant stuff there. Wake CU takes a position. Take a bow, ladies and gentlemen. That was brilliant stuff. And is he gonna take another one into turn 1 here? He gets the run on Will Friedman and he passes on the outside. Brilliant stuff. That is 2 spaces in the space of seconds for Wake CU as Will Friedman goes off on the outside there, leaves Pinkery through as well. Poor luck for Will Friedman. Let's have another look here of the run here of Wake CU. We've got the entire situation. Big battle there in front. Well defended from Will Friedman. Almost contact between the 2 cars. And then is Pinkery just falling off And then the big run here, overtaking system deployed. And you see it flashing as well from Will Friedman as he tries to defend. And then that braking move into turn 1, holding off late into turn 2. That's brilliant stuff from Wake CU up into 4th position. He's now got a chase on GT Welsh. 10 laps of racing remaining, just around 5 seconds of an advantage. It should be possible for Wake to bring in Welsh in front. And in turn, Pinkery right on his tail. This two-man party is by no means over yet. But overtake of the day in my book there from Wake CU, at least so far. On the outside of turn 1, that was a beautiful move indeed. But now look here, because Pinkery well and solid into the slipstream, and he's really gaining on his way down towards turn 1. A big run he has. He puts his nose out, perhaps even a tad too early. Wasn't really fully committed to getting the real run. Oh, Wake's getting a little squirmy on the exit. And then into the S's here. Rapid Gator he must have had. I'm thinking he must have had some cake. It's the only possible explanation I can think of for such an increase in performance. Of course, cake known to be hugely performance enhancing when it comes to skills as a race car driver. So back on board with Pinkery. Oh, as Wake completely overcooks it on his way through a spoon corner. Worthy of another look, indeed. And he just completely overcooks it into the second part, bringing much too much speed. And that's just allowed Pinkery to run off with it for now, at least. He's off chasing Welsh alone. By now, I think Welsh with a 4.4 second advantage, and that might come down to the very line in the end. Still in front, it is status quo between Joe of the Fire in second and CJ leading the race. CJ still leading by 2.5 seconds down to the Witty Professor, and they have around half a minute on the nearest follower, that is GT Welsh. And the top 3 cars in turn right now on the mediums, and then Pinkery and Wake in 4th and 5th on the softs. Will Friedman on the mediums, Martin on the mediums, and I think T5 in 8th. He will be on the softs at the moment. Kurt, I know that feeling. I feel the same way about my own girlfriend, since we're not married, really. We are actually, she is my fiance, to be honest, so my fiance. But yeah, I feel the same way. She's sticking out with me. She's picked an insane weirdo, and she's sticking with it. And I love her for 1,000 reasons, and that's just one of the reasons I love her. No, I think we might just, let's see, stick, keep it where we are now. We've been together for 9 years by now, so it's been some years. Back with the Pinkery, and in front it's now only 3.3 seconds up to Welsh, so he's really picked off some time. Indeed, Kurt. And stick kits, I'm not sure about that. We'll see, perhaps they'll come one day. They haven't come yet, at least. All we got is Stella. And we might be getting more dogs. I'm actually quite sure we're getting more dogs at some point. But kids, Well, we'll have to see. I won't be talking too much of the future because it's so hard to tell what it's gonna bring. Now less than 3 seconds with 7 laps still remaining. Pinkery is on a charge. He's on a mission here to secure a podium spot for tonight. And he's quickly gaining on GT Welsh. He does have the tire advantage. You would think that he'd be able to just catch up to Welsh here. Yeah, Stella Artois. I actually have a nice special bottle in the kitchen. Although, of course, I drank it, but the bottle is still nice to look at. It's a really good beer. Pinkery, 3 seconds by now. A lot of action here around, but that's, of course, lap traffic, by the way, at the moment. Look at this, between our 2 leaders, it's now under 2 seconds. Joe of the Fire is getting closer and closer. Might the witty professor just have a late charge here to get back on CJ? And evening to Mart Minir as well. I hope you're doing well. And of course, thanks for tuning in. Although it's just 5 laps of racing left, you might be a little bit on the late side, Mart. And Mart, you might also be disappointed to find that Martin had all chances of securing 2nd place in the overall standings tonight. He was starting 2nd in front of CJ. But now with CJ leading, Martin needs to finish 3rd. And I think I can safely say, even though Martin is a skilled, talented, fast driver indeed, he's not gonna get up into 3rd position over the last couple of laps here. Joe of the Fire steadily catching up to CJ. Just as I say that, he makes some kind of mistake. He misses out on about half a second there. Now let's check back in with Pinkery. The gap up to Welsh is down to 2.5 seconds now. So he is really still gaining. But he's also running out of time, more or less. Entering his 42nd lap of the 46 to do. That's also, of course, his 40th out of the 44. That's to do without the 2 warm-up laps. But that leaves 5 laps left to do for the field here. Last 5 laps of the season in turn as well. Open lobby stream is gonna be, I was actually thinking to have one next week. I'll have to just figure out which day fits best, but next week. And of course, I'll let you know in Discord. So Pinkery doing well, he's catching up to Welsh. It's now just 2 seconds. Joe of the Fire. Oh, he's gotten really close to CJ all of a sudden though. 1.3 second here. And the thing is, CJ, he does still have some boost left to use as well. CJ on his way through the SS here. Maximum attack. Oh, gets a little far left. Oh, that's CJ. That's to the limit indeed. Deckner 1, Deckner 2, and underneath the bridge. And that's pulled those 0.7 of a second back from Joe of the Fire. And it did so very quickly indeed. Checking back with Pinkery, he's pulled out another half a second on Welsh in front. And this might really be going to the line. Through the SS and Dunlop, he's really gaining. He's got 4 seconds by now down to Wake CU. It's still Will Friedman 6th with Martin 7th and T5 in 8th position. Then further down it's Dr. Hash in 9th, Apple in 10th, and Jiran Bandit 11th at the moment. But look at this now, as Wake CU, or excuse me, GT Welsh is getting caught here with just a few laps remaining. Pinkery now within a second. It's all coming back together here for the final. I think he's still just outside the slipstream pretty much, or just on the edge of it. Welsh doing a good job of denying Pinkery the chance of really getting closer. Of course, the dirty air, very much also a thing to deal with once you get within a second, where you're seriously gonna start losing grip here. And evening to GM. Welcome to the show, although you have joined with just, well, more or less just 2 laps of racing left. It is, however, all coming back together here at the end. Look at this, with Joe of the Fire actually gaining on CJ. It's just around a second now, with 2 laps left. And then in the battle for 3rd position, there's also just a second separating the 2 cars, so it's really all coming back together for the final couple of laps after a very tactical race, a strategic race indeed, but also a race on consistency and concentration as much as raw pace, as Joe of the Fire has clearly showed. Oh, he goes a little deep on entrance to the Casio triangle, and that in turn might just give Welsh that extra little cushion that he needed to stay safe for the last 2 laps, because he lost around half a second on just going deep into the first part of the Casio triangle. Let's see here, Joe of the Fire still not able to get within that second. Back up with a look on board with Pinkery. Through Dunlop here, he'll be gaining on this part of the track. He'll be gaining through the 2 Deckners. The grip difference through the hairpin is not that big indeed. So this is not a place where you see the... Oh, as Welsh gets a little slide on. Brakes. Oh, too late, but... Oh, Pinkery as well with a little bit of a squirm on the corner exit there. So the question still being, can he get close enough, Pinkery? This time he's got a good run on the back straight here. Down towards 130R. Welsh tries to put him outside of the slipstream, but that in turn isn't the best of ideas, because Welsh compromises his own corner speed through 130R by doing so. Here is the exit of the triangle, and this time around he gets it pretty perfect, spot on. Pinkery is looking to get within half a second of GT Welsh. Welsh, plenty of overtake boost left for him, symbolized by the green light above the air intake, in turn just above the driver's head. We're on to the final lap now. 0.3 of a second now separating Welsh in 3rd with Pinkery in 4th position, and out in front of these 2 it's also still close with a second, 1.2 seconds, but it does look like it's gonna be the Mad Greek CJ Crazy John in the number 25 car that picks off the win here at the final round at Suzuka. And it most certainly is, as he crossed the line to take the checkered flag in front of Joe of the Fire first and second, and then is it gonna be Welsh or Pinkery? They are on their way down through Spoon now. Oh, Welsh with a bit of a slide, and that might just open the door for Pinkery. But didn't seem to get that big run, or is he? Oh, that is actually a really big pace advantage into 130. What's it gonna be? It's gonna be a late, great move here. Pinkery has a look. Welsh keeps it under control. Pinkery is gonna be going for the cutback here. The late one, but it's not gonna be a possibility. Gets a little too squirmy. It is Welsh for third, Pinkery for fourth. It's gonna be Wake CU coming home for fifth position in the end. TSR Martin seems to have gotten the better of Will Friedman. He's coming home for sixth position, and that's not going to be enough for him to secure second place in the overall championship standings. Martin finishes third in that manner. He finishes sixth here today in front of Will Friedman. Comes home for seventh position. Then TSR T5 Black for ninth, or eighth position. I'm sorry. Then of course Dr. Hash comes home in ninth. Then it is the two nuke shot cars here with a parade finish. Off Apple and GRM Bandit comes home in the two last positions. What a race it was. Fantastic, and it ended up going all the way to the line. Indeed, so close, Pinkery. So close in the end. And I really feel for, well, both Pinkery and Joe for getting close, but just not close enough. It's time to set up our post-race interviews, so let's hear who's up for such. So Welsh up, CJ and Joe, great. I'll set up the party right away, up on screen right around now, ladies and gentlemen, as I'll go in and you will see just that standing screen for a very short moment as I go in to invite our top three in the standings. That of course is CJ, it is Joe of the Fire, and it is GT Welsh. So there it is, invites sent out. So we've got Welsh. Evening, Welsh. We've got CJ there for the press conference. And just awaiting the last man to join here. Joe of the Fire probably wanting to switch up his headsets, if I know him right. Oh, he is here by now, I think. Yeah, he is here. Okay, so with that, let's get the press conference underway. CJ, starting with you. What a fantastic start. Third to first like that. Boom. Was that the best start of your career?
Not surely, but it was probably one of the best. I tried to minimize the throttle a little bit on the start to have around no oversteer roll, no wheel spin. I mean, it did work. I had to press the overtake on the start a little bit to get rid of Joe before turn one, as I didn't want to go side by side and have another Yamagi will happen again. But after that, I believe it was just trying to concentrate on the track. I believe it's my piece of cake.
Yeah. Finally, a race that went according to plan for you as well. It seemed to be that the tables were turned between you and Joe today, with you the more consistent one. How did it feel out on track today?
The car felt pretty nice, even though I had no practice at all on this track. It felt really loose on the low speed corners, something that Joe has a big advantage on since the start of the season. I know that I was getting a lot of time in sector 1 and I kept nailing the every single apex, and also was pretty quick at spoon. I was lacking a little bit of straight line speed, but I did that so I could get more speed on the corners, and I believe that did work out perfectly. Now, I'm pretty happy that at least I didn't get a chance to make a mistake. I believe the curse has been broken, if I can say this, but
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Well, but
That's
I
all
mean,
have to say.
in the end, taking second place in the overall standings from Martin with a very nice performance here is that some kind of consolidation in the end? Even though you weren't able to challenge for the championship?
Probably not, as I knew I had the chance to battle with Joe all the way for the season. It just didn't happen, and I believe this win is more like psychological advantage for like the future. That's all I think.
All right, congratulations, CJ, and thanks.
Thanks.
Joe, on to you. Well, we're just gonna turn it right around. Not really the best start of your career. Talk us through it.
Well, the start was about the same as it has been the past couple of races. I can't quite seem to nail it like CJ can for whatever reason. I still managed to beat Welsh offline decently enough and tried to challenge for turn 1, but I wasn't quite there, so I backed out of that. Then a few laps in, going into the chicane, the curb randomly unsettled the car, like the only time it did it during the whole race, and that put me wide onto the gravel on the exit of it. Dropped me down to 7th in the end.
Yeah, exactly. You quite brutal loss of track position there, but you also bended on several other occasions today. You had, or bended were perhaps a bit too much to say, but you lost it in turn 1 at some point.
Yeah, I lost it in turn 1. I think I might have touched the grass like on the left before I turned in, or if not, just braked too late. But that dropped me about 3 or 4 seconds down. And then the other one was after passing Welsh through the chicane. I wasn't quite clear of him, and he turned into my rear and pushed me along for a little bit.
But in the end, but in the end, Joe, given these incidents, I guess finishing second isn't too bad. And but it's funny to see, as I also mentioned to CJ, that it was a little bit the tables turned between you and CJ. You seem to have the raw pace on CJ today, but CJ seemed to have you in terms of consistency, and ended up also winning on the race on those grounds. So that was a little fun to see.
Yeah, it was an interesting one for sure. The main corner CJ was going through the S's was like the last left-hander before Dunlop, it seems, or the right-hander after that. I was losing maybe half a second a lap through there at times, but then getting it back, as CJ said, through the slow corners.
Yeah. Well, it certainly made for a great race, and yet again, Joe, big congratulations on the championship title on your part. It has been a really strong season on your part. So yeah, congratulations on that. And moving on to Welsh. Welsh, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you and Stig on a very nice piece of organizing work for this season that we've been really glad to cover. And ending it off with and rounding it off with a podium place. What were your feelings out there today on track?
No, it was good. It was good. I had no practice at all, so I just went in and did my best. Really, I was third for like 95% of it. So yeah, it was good. It was just. I was on an island. It felt like most of it, and then Pinkeray came out of nowhere. Really, to be honest, I don't know if he was on RS tires or what.
Yeah, Pinkeray wrote the reverse strategy, so he qualified on the mediums and had a long medium stint at the early part of the race, and then came hammering home on the soft compounds later on. And I think actually he also did a one-stop. Perhaps Pinkeray can confirm this in chat for us, because I saw that both CJ, you, and Welsh did two-stop strategies for today, if I wasn't completely mistaken. I think actually Pinkeray did a one-stop. So And you know, I love to see the strategies come together at the end of the race like this. Really made it for a super exciting race at the end.
Yeah, it was a bit touch and go for a bit.
You don't say. And last question for me: what's next on the boards for TSR? Can you enlighten our viewership with any teasings of what's to come?
We had a plan, and then we've since put that in the bin. So we're not quite sure. We're actively in discussion.
All right. Well, I hope that our viewers will then be waiting patiently and so on. But anyways, it's been a great championship to follow, and congrats on the podium spots here for the final race. And thanks to GT Welsh.
It's been a pleasure. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys, and thanks to all of our participants here in the post-race press conference. Anyways. And thanks to all of you guys who've been tuning in for the final round of this wondrous series that's been the TSR Super Formula Season 1. Of course, you've been watching Half the Race Gone here with me, DirtenDK, and it's been a pleasure. I will be back on Thursday with Dirten Rally. I'm looking forward to that. We will be back on Saturday with the first race of the VRR Super GT Season 6. 300 kilometers, and it is gonna be a hell of a race. So don't miss it. Tune in on Saturday, and well, I do hope to see you there. So mash the like button if you haven't already, and feel free to subscribe as well if you haven't already, and if you feel like it, of course. And with that said, we'll be rounding off. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for following us here with the TSR Super Formula Season 1. We will be back for lots more TSR action in the future. And until then, take care, bye-bye, and or take care, have fun, and bye-bye for now.